Biloxi blues. It happens every night.
Just about every night.
And I ain't
Every damn
never
night.
met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Can't stand riverboat dealers or divas.
He never treats me kind. It leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time.
Say.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
Nope.
No,
I don't care at all.
care.
Not even like a little bit.
Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good
Right to the hook right here.
to spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget. Or as my guest today that we'll introduce in a second said, maybe medium budget. Maybe a medium budget. He came to the LBL Bar and Grill. He's like, this could be medium budget. And I'm okay with that. We can take it up a notch. Mark Jeffries from Bass Talk Live told me one time, he called me to ask me what kind of recording software I used. And I told him, and he goes, oh, yeah, you are low budget. Shout out to the Bass Talk Live boys, Mark and Matt. What's up, everybody? Welcome, you bunch of low-lifers. This is the podcast for November 22nd, and we're almost to December, and I don't like it a bit, but I do like the fact that it's the week of Thanksgiving, because that means lots of things. That means I'm going to be fat and happy, and it means that I'm going to deer hunt until my wife leaves me this week. That's normally what happens for me. This is a week that I just stay in a tree because it's normally the week that it goes down in Tennessee. So I don't want y'all bothering me. Don't be texting me. Don't be calling me. I'm going to be in a tree stand most likely. And when I'm not, I'm going to be eating like pecan pies, turkey, and I don't know, deviled eggs. None of that pumpkin pie, though. None of that. Get that completely out of here. I'm going to talk to our guest about that, see what his favorite Thanksgiving. This is going to be a real topical, stay on theme kind of LBL. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, and we do have somebody waiting in the wings. We're going to rattle off these sponsors, and I'm going to bring him in. This is it's a big deal for me to have guests in the bar and grill. Y'all know that. I enjoy it. I enjoy the conversations I get to have. But this guy, we're going to have fun with. But first and foremost, we've got to say huge thanks to the sponsors that make Low Budget Live and the Traveling Circus all the insanity possible. And we start right here each and every week with StarTron, kicking ethanol in the teeth, in your weed eater, in your chainsaw, in your log splitter. Maybe you're out there running a log splitter because it's getting cold and you heat your house with wood. I don't know. But I know ethanol will gum up the works in that log splitter. And I know if you're going to store your boat for longer than 3 weeks, you better put you some StarTron in the tank, because ethanol, you'll be ready to go fishing again next March. Deer season will be over with. You'll be thinking about Low Budget Live. You'll be wishing you went and spent you some money right here. A little dab will do you. 256 gallons is what this bottle, 256, just say that to yourself. Should I buy ethanol-free gas for $17 a gallon, or should I just go buy a bottle of this? You should go buy a bottle of this right here. StarTron, kicking ethanol in the teeth, bringing you Low Budget Live for going on 4 years now. We appreciate the folks from Florida, Starbright, StarTron. Sims Fishing Products, like it says on the hat right there, making quality outdoor wear, I guess we could say that, rain suits. They got boots. They got toboggans. They got gloves. They got sun shirts, depending on where you're at in the country. Maybe you're going on a Mexican vacation. You're one of the lucky ones. You're going down to Cancun for Thanksgiving. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. I'm going deer hunting, maybe going to Cancun. Get you one of those Solar Flex shirts. Take that thing down to Cancun. Flex on them a little bit. Maybe you're up north. You need to get one of them Pro Dries. Put that bad boy on. Stay dry, stay warm. Sims wants me to remind all of you low-lifers, you get one life. Fish it well. Pro Guide batteries. Keeping you large and charged out there on the water. The new lithium batteries from Pro Guide. Half the weight, twice the power. Don't quote me on that. I don't think that's their slogan. But You know, they want to give you guys a chance to own some of those fine batteries at a discount just because you listen, because you're low-lifers. You're low-lifers. Code LBL10 at checkout, ProGuideBatteries.com. Go get you some. And last but not least, the thing that I love the most, hanging right over my shoulder, the banner, hang it, baby. Express Boats, the official boat, Low Budget Live and the Traveling Circus, the boat that we put those Pro Guide batteries in. The X21 with the C deck, the 250 show. Love it. Absolutely love it. Not getting to spend as much time in it right now as I want to because those deer are back. They're calling. They're calling me. So it's down here waiting. It gives me the side eye every now and then when I walk by, and I'm like, hey, girl, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Put a little Startron in it because she's sitting idle right now. She's sitting idle. But I'm telling you right now, we're fixing to get her back out. Gotta get a deer on the ground, then we're going to get back in that X21. I'm actually thinking about going down to Florida and poking around a little bit in December. We'll talk about that with our guest today a little bit, about some upcoming things going down in the year 2022. But the Express X21 will be with me for all of it again next year. Express Boats, building excitement since 1966. All right. Got to say real quick, huge congratulations to Chris Zaldane, Captain Ryan Ricard for winning that Redfish Cup tournament. Talked about it last week. Super cool event for bass. Remember the old Redfish Cup that used to be on ESPN? One of my favorite things I ever watched in fishing. I thought they were super cool tournaments. There's something about that team atmosphere that's really neat to keep up with. I think it's missing in pro fishing at that top level. And it was something to watch. I actually was recording last week when that final day was going on. I got to catch most of it, but did not know who won that event until after I was finished recording and talking with Maddie Wong. So congrats to Chris and Captain Ryan on a big win. And very cool to see, man. Very cool to see. Hopefully they keep that going and it keeps growing. More and more teams. And, you know, hey, Bass, holler at your boy. I like to catch redfish. Pair me up with somebody out there. Put me and my guest in a redfish boat and watch what happens. We'll be slacklining them suckers together. And I want to say real quick, too, a huge congratulations to the old Midwest Fisher gal, Midwest Fisher girl herself, Christine Fisher, for winning the Hobie Tournament of Champions, kicking freaking tail down at Lake Eufaula. She is the real freaking deal, ladies and gentlemen. Real deal. And she's taking that kayak world, and I'm just going to be honest with you. She's going to keep on. She's going to keep on. She's going to keep on. We're going to see her in lots of places in this old bass fishing world, but she puts in the time, energy, and effort. It's really cool to see her come out victorious down at Lake Eufaula on a big $35,000 payday. I got to get me a damn kayak. I know that. This next guest, I wouldn't trust him in a kayak. I'll just be honest. If we're just gonna be honest, I wouldn't get in a kayak with this guy because I spent a night in a bass boat with this man, putting some fish habitat in Smith Lake, and I almost lost a finger. And then I trusted this man, this young man with my lodging at Smith Lake, and basically slept on a razor blade, you know, and so, you know, I don't trust him necessarily, but I do think a lot of him, even if I don't trust him with everything I got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, waiting in the wings in the green room right here, high-fiving as he comes by.
What up?
Trey Swindle. Let me turn your microphone on, little Trey.
Yeah, you got to get me hooked up.
You ain't even getting no headphones.
No.
Let me check the monitor here. Oh, you good. Look at how good that looks.
I'm talking
Golly, your girlfriend's going to be so mad because you're going to be getting so many DMs.
I swear, she ain't the jealous type. Not too bad. She might be after this medium budget live we got going.
Medium budget live. Trey Swindle in the bar and grill. He's getting his boat wrapped today.
Yep.
And I try to take full advantage. My buddy Jeff Stanford, Sign Designs. If you need a boat wrap, go hit him up and tell him that he should pay me commission for saying
absolutely.
that. Don't you think?
I think so.
You think that I deserve that?
I do. I think you deserve more, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, we'll talk about it off camera. But Treybo said he was getting his boat wrapped, and I said, I know how you can kill some time.
That's right.
Come get on this yonder microphone and let's talk about life and let's talk about bass fishing. So Trey is in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee today, Middle Tennessee, in the Bar and Grill. And he said it's kind of medium budget live, and I'm like, well,
when I was booking our room, you said you had low budget live, so I figured you was used to low budget stuff. So I booked a low budget room. Well, turns out you was more of a medium budget type of guy.
Here's the thing: when you book that room, now listen, calling it a room is really
It's a shed.
Is a shed.
Yeah, shed.
It is a shed.
Shed.
But it was also a shed that maybe you could have kept like your motorcycle in and hauled it down the road.
Yeah, like a utility trailer.
Yeah, it was very, very much like a utility trailer. Now, I ain't above it. I enjoyed it. We just didn't have no TV.
No, we did. We made up our own TV
We made up
shows,
our
but
own
we didn't
TV
have
shows.
No live TV.
And the walls were so thin that, I mean, it was just, you could hear anything you wanted to. You could hear the neighbors.
Yeah, we had a full-time neighbor there.
That we didn't see
that we never
very
saw.
often,
Yeah,
but we could hear them rolling over in their bed down the road.
Yeah. Down the bend.
Down the bend there, down there. But Trey, of course, you know, you got this. This is why I got to start with this. Is you got this last name in bass fishing, you know, and it comes with, and I'm gonna get serious. I'm gonna get serious on you right out of the jump. It comes with a lot of pressure, I think, right?
It does.
Being a Swindle, you a Swindle, and right over your shoulder here, Uncle G's jersey.
That's right.
But dude, do you let that put more pressure on you to succeed? Because you're a young man, but you're trying to chase this dream in pro fishing, and we're going to get into what your plans are for next year and all that. But do you let that get to you ever?
I try not to. But that's one part of it that people don't realize. I'm kind of glad you brought that up. Is people just think it's easier with a name.
1,000,000%.
They do. They just.
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, so that's normal. I mean, everybody thinks that, but really, I mean, it puts more pressure on you because people expect more out of it.
Well, and I think that it's not fair. And you and I, I've gotten to know you really good, and I think that people. I've seen this with a lot of young guys. Seen this with Darian over the years. People be like, "What's up, rich boy?" Right? They see him post a picture with a boat, or "Oh, must be nice, have everything given to you," and they didn't realize he worked for everything he had. And you're the same freaking way, dude. Like, you're out there grinding, but people are like, "Oh, it's Gerald Swindle's nephew. Cool, but he gets all his rods and reels and baits and boats and trucks for free. Look at this kid."
Absolutely.
Not exactly that way, is
No,
it?
not at all. I promise you guys, I will say this right now. I'll put it on everything. You can ask my mom. For 3 years, first 3 years I started fishing, the only rod I used was a Berkeley shock rod from Walmart, $29.99. It was the orange Berkeley shock rod. I wish they still made them today because I'd still use them, but they don't make them anymore. But that's what I used, $29.99 rod, and I still had the same love for it everybody else had. So,
But it's not. I think a lot of people, I don't know, man. It's jealousy for a lot of folks, right? They see a young guy out there grinding, and they're like, "Well, how does this work?" But getting to know you, and this is an important podcast for me because so many young folks, I feel like we do them a disservice in thinking that it's all bubbles and butterflies, and man, you're gonna go to high school and you're gonna do good in high school, and then you can go to the college level. Man, you know what? Just skip that. Just go right in to ABTs and Bassmaster. Dude, you're just gonna set the world on fire. But it's more complicated than that. It's more expensive than that.
Yep.
There's a lot of steps in the process.
yeah, there is. There's a lot of finances behind it that I never saw coming. Nobody ever warned me. Somebody needs to get beat for not warning me, but
Shout out G Man for not warning him.
yeah, come on with it, G. Come on. But yeah, so me, like I said, I started out in high school. My high school fishing team, they had one for like 2 years, I think. We just didn't even have enough people to do it. But I never really got into fishing until I was about, I'd probably say 14 or 15. Because, long story short, but, you know, my dad passed when I was 8 years old.
Right.
So my mom remarried to my stepdad, Marty. And
Shout out Marty.
Shout out Marty. Thank you for surprising me with my first boat. That's what I was getting
shout
at.
out Marty. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, Marty would do anything for me in the world, but he don't fish, so I never really had anybody to take me fishing until I met a buddy of mine, Ricky Campbell, and he kind of took me up under his wing and took me fishing. But so I started fishing with him all the time, and I really fell in love with it. And then our high school got a team for about 2 years, and I fished that for 2 years, and then they quit because we didn't have enough people in our little country school out there. You know how that is. But So after high school, I started fishing the ABTs, and then when I graduated, G was like, "We need to have a talk." I was like, "Oh, okay, what'd I do? I messed something up. Oh Lord."
He saw your TikTok.
Yeah, I was like, he done saw what I liked on TikTok or something. I was like, "Oh, this ain't good." But he was like, "Nope, we need to have man-to-man talk." I said, "All right." So I went up there to his house, and he said, "Look," he said, "I got one question for you." He said, "Do you want to fish for a living?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm going to repeat that one more time. Do you want to do this for a living?" He said, "It ain't what it seems." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Do you want to do it the easy way or the hard way?" I said, "What's the easy way?" He said, "Go to college, fish in college, try to make it through the classic through that and do that." And I said, "Okay, what's the hard way?" And he said, "Well, you can just go straight into fishing the opens and probably get your teeth kicked in and learn that way." And I said, "I like the hard way better." He's like, "I respect that." So here we are. We're doing it the hard way. A lot of teeth kickings later. Here we are.
A lot of them, and G will tell you a lot more to come. He still takes them. Everybody takes them. Even the best take the teeth kickings. But so next year though, now you've been in the opens. This was your second or third year in the
Third
open?
year.
Third year.
Yep.
Yeah. But next year,
It's
ripping off the Band-Aid.
Yep.
And you're going. You're
I'm
going
going.
gunslinging, and
I
you
am.
have signed up for all three divisions.
Yep, all 9, all 3 divisions. The past 3 years, I've just fished the Centrals, and to be completely honest, I did not probably belong out there the first 2 years, but now I've kind of got my rhythm and kind of done not great, but I've kind of had a couple, decent tournaments, and I kind of gained confidence for myself, and it's going to be a big year next year.
And like what, and you're learning more about what your deal is, like what
Yep.
you like to do, which is a thing you like to be an old slackliner.
Old slack liner, throw my chatterbait around, slack line one every now and again. But that's the biggest thing I've learned is just, when you go somewhere, everybody talks, but the best thing to do is not to listen to what Luke's doing, not to listen to what nobody else is doing.
I want to look right here at this camera and make sure everybody. That is a really good practice everywhere you go, is just to not listen to me, because I may tell you throw a little Japanese spoon.
Yep. At Smith Lake, Luke had me wanting to buy a ticket to Japan to buy a little spoon that I thought I might catch a limit on. I called and asked what a one-way flight was, and I said, no, I guess I'm just going to have to get beat by that little spoon.
He said, "Hey, y'all got any more of them spoons over there? I will drive over there and pick them up."
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, it'll be like..."
And in my defense, the only keeper that came in my boat the first day, guess what it's on? Boom, Japanese spoon.
It was.
Japanese spoon. Without it, I zero, so I don't even want to hear it.
Okay, that's true.
And then I jumped up 100 places to win the Luke Duncan versus Trey Swindle Smith Lake Challenge. I took the W.
You're right.
Because of the little spoon.
Okay, I give that to you.
Okay.
But would it have been worth me flying to Japan?
No,
Okay.
no. It wasn't worth all my tackle warehouse bills
really
overnighting them suckers.
I was wondering what you was doing.
My wife had to, wasn't looking up certain things on the internet. I was looking up spoons. It was really a letdown, to be honest.
Like I said, we could hear everything through the walls. So I was hearing Luke yell at tackle warehouse.
Yeah. I was in there laughing, giggling. I had to meet the triple threat Marissa D on the dang interstate with Japanese spoons one night, because the place we were staying wasn't on a map. Like, it wasn't on any map.
Really?
Like, Google couldn't find it.
I can believe it. I can believe that.
Yeah, you should never listen to me. But sorry, but you're saying you gotta block all the doc talk out.
Yeah, just block everybody out and just do your own thing. That's the hardest thing I've had. That, and then multi-day events, because I grew up fishing Tuesday nighters and Thursday nighters, and you just catch everything you can catch and come back to the dock and go home. But it's just so much different. First of all, when there's 225 boats on the water, and then you got a 2-day tournament. Everybody fishes 2 days and then the final day cut. So that was a really big adjustment for me, fishing the opens. And the 2 decent finishes I've had would be, Louisville. I think I was in 4th after the first day, and then Pickwick I was in but not as good as I thought, but I was still up there, I think, in the top 20. But, I've learned if you catch them somewhere one day, never go back in the opens. Just never
forget
go back.
it. You almost have to. You're right. It is a different, that's what I say this, I speak about the opens on here a lot, and I feel like people are like, oh, great, you're going to tell us how tough the opens are again. But, man, I think if you're not in them, and there are a lot of opens anglers that listen to this podcast that I've got to meet, especially this year, dude, making it through to the Elite Series it's murderer's row. It really is.
It is.
Like people are like, oh well, they're huge fields. Yeah, it's huge fields, but it's huge fields of dudes that catch them and figure it out. And you and I think a really good example of this is Smith Lake. Smith's your home lake. You know it really well. I know Smith not anywhere near as well as you do, but I've got a lot of history there. And you and I put a lot of homework in. We did. We sunk brush. We did things, but spent a lot of time pre-fishing. You spent a lot more time than I did because you're right there. But, dude, we saw that lake. How much did it change from 10 days before that tournament started till day one of that tournament?
It was unreal.
It's crazy.
Unreal. From the temperature outside to the water level to, it was just everything. It just completely flip-flopped.
But I think fishing pressure-wise, though, 200 and something dudes, a lot of them were there several days. They came straight from Lake Norman.
Yep.
And then there was a big Smith Lake Bass Fest. But, dude, we saw that. Like, it was not hard for you and I. And there were a lot of boats buzzing around even the week before, but it was not hard to go catch a limit. No. It just wasn't.
No,
you and I were like, well, catching a limit's not going to be hard. Even Monday at practice, we're like, this won't be a big deal. But, dude, by the time Thursday came around, it tightened up so freaking much.
It was. And me and G talked about it after because I always call him and make sure he tells me I suck and see what I did wrong.
He will do that.
He will do that.
He's really good
if
at
you
it.
want to get made fun of and told what you did wrong, just call Gerald Swindle and he will tell you.
He will straighten you out.
But I called him and he said the thing you messed up doing is you practiced on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He said you should have just never went because he said think about it. If you would have never went, because and the reason he's saying that is because I live 30 minutes from the ramp and I had been there for 2 or 3 weeks, every day. So. He said, if you'd have never went on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, you'd have never knew it sucked.
You'd have just went fishing.
You'd have just went fishing.
Yeah, you're right.
You'd have never knew anything changed. You just go fishing. So, I think he's got a point there, but I just couldn't bring
myself. It's hard to put your money in something like that.
It is.
Because when it was on Pickwick, which is my home pond, I thought about that. I thought, well, do I really need to go down here and run around? But yeah, you do.
Yep.
And my thing is when Justin Atkins is out there and he knows Pickwick better than I do, and he's out there daylight till dark grinding on them.
Yep.
You know what?
Yeah,
I better be out there.
That's
you know what I mean?
Thinking.
Like that's kind of how I got to be. Jordan Lee, Jesse Wiggins, they were out there practicing.
Yep. Now, one day they were riding around in the same boat yelling at me, but that's probably after they done got them dialed in.
Shout out to Jesse and Jordan.
Yeah, they took my money a lot, so I don't like him. But hey,
yeah, they take everybody's money.
Yeah, I think I've got them once over the past 10 or so years.
Coming
for you, Wiggins brothers. Coming for you.
Shout out.
That's right.
But I think it's really the Opens are underestimated, man, and how tough they are. And I think there's never been a time that it's any tougher than right now to get in the elites. We saw our little buddy Sammy George.
Yep.
It sucks. And they're word on the street is they're changing that next year to call down in that overall list. Hopefully you're in the top 3. You're not in 4th, and we don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely.
Next year. But it's you fight so hard. You see Sam, and he had a couple bombs.
Yeah.
But
he's a prime example. That's a guy that's been close countless
3 or 4 times. Yeah.
I mean, and not like 10th. We're talking about like
one
4th.
spot out.
Yes,
yeah,
like,
one spot
2
out.
points.
Yes, several times.
And it's you hate to see it like that, but I mean, you win some, you lose some, I guess. But there's no doubt he'll be there next year. I guarantee it. He'll be there. He's a heck of a fisherman. But it's to see somebody like that be that close that many times and still haven't made it yet. That just goes to show you how tough it is.
And a guy like Josh Douglas, he made it this year. He's been at it forever. There's so many guys I could sit here and name. A lot of them that have been, and then you see these guys like this is what's amazing. I've said it on here a million times, but Prosnick, I'm just going to go requalify, right in. Christie, Hackney, right in. Dude, it ain't easy.
Yep.
Like it's insane, but those guys are like, like Hackney last year. I'll just go fish the Centrals and make it.
It's unreal.
He just made it.
And that's what I gave
What's scary about them boys.
Yeah, I gave G crap for it because the year that he got back in the elites through the legend exemption, I fished, the Centrals, and I think he fished the Southerns, Centrals, and I even think he might have signed up for the Northerns. And no, he didn't. He didn't. So he fished the Centrals and the Southerns, and within 4 tournaments, 4 Opens, while he was fishing the Elite Series, he was leading the overalls, leading the Centrals, or leading the overall, one of those two, like second in the other one, and he hadn't even fished the Northerns. And I'm like, and he's like, I just wanted to show him I could if I wanted to. I'm like, well,
Sounds about right.
yeah, sounds like him, don't it? But I'm like, my word, man.
There's a difference.
It is.
There's a big difference in them boys.
And I don't necessarily think everybody says, well, they can cast better. No. I mean, they can cast better, but it's all
between the ears, man. It is. They don't get shook. Oh, the water came up 2 feet, water dropped 2 feet, there's 200 boats. They know what they're going to, like Jason Christie knew what he was going to do leaving the dock.
Yep.
At all them times, and it didn't matter. And if somebody got in his way, because we all piss and moan about, there's too many boats in these open. You know what? I was going to go flip that grass. Hey, there's 5 boats on it. Well, guess what? Somebody still won 50 grand. Somebody's still going to the Classic. Somebody figured it. It's like Prosnick. We were all griping, man, them fish on live scope won't eat. Them fish on live scope won't eat. Prosnick figured out a way to make them eat.
Yep, he did.
And beat us at Smith.
There's always going to be a winner, and there's always going to be a lot of losers. So
that's a bunch of losers in those.
Way more losers than winners.
224 of us every tournament
Absolutely.
at those things. Don't take the trophy home or the Classic bird. So looking at that schedule next year, though, you got 9. And I want to talk about your unique opportunity with your sponsor, because that's what a lot of people, they're sitting here going, man, Trey's a young man, how you pay for it? Mm-hmm. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. But you've got an opportunity through. And I want you to tell the story. This is really cool to me. But you've got a sponsor that is going to help you on your entry fees. Mm-hmm. But you and I have talked about it. Like, you're sweating it a little bit. You're trying to figure out if you're going to sleep in the back of the truck. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be hitchhiking to the tournament, you ain't figured it out yet. But because just the entry fees alone are a lot of money to do that. But the expenses can even double that amount. But talk about the sponsor first, and then we'll get into. I want to ask you about what you think about the schedule and stuff.
Yeah. So this year, my title sponsor is North Alabama Mortgage. But the cool thing I think you're talking about is the story of how I met.
Yeah, it's super
and
cool.
So last year I was fishing the Central Opens, and we had one at Sam Rayburn, and me and G drove in that day, and we got there. I think we got caught in traffic. We had to leave late and got caught in traffic. So we got there at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. So on like Sunday night, I think. And so we get there, and of course it's like, it doesn't matter what time of the night. Like, G's truck pulls in, and every one of the hotel room doors open. So like they're just flooding.
G-Man.
Autograph.
Hey, you got an MDT8. Come on, G-Man.
So, all of them start flocking him, and they're trying to tell us where to park, and we're trying to get set up. Like I said, it's 11, 12 o'clock at night. We've been driving 10 or 12 hours. We're kind of tired and ready to go to bed, but so they're telling us where to park, and I'm parking. They make him park 17 miles away or whatever. So I'm trying to throw my cover on and get my bag out, and this guy comes up. Like I said, it's pitch black dark, and he said, hey, man. And I said, hey. I just kind of turned around and said, hey. He was like, are you Gerald's son? And I said, no. I said, I'm his nephew. And he said, oh, really? So me and him got to talking, and he was like, man, he said, I keep up with G. He's like, I've been keeping up with y'all, and like I said, we just kind of talked just like buddies for a while, and he's like, all right, I'll let you go, and he went over there and spoke to G and let him go. Went in the hotel room, didn't think nothing about it. The next night, he sat out there and talked to me again, and then G told me when we got back in the hotel room, he said, man, that guy loves you to death. I said, really? He said, he thinks the world of you. He said, you're polite, and yes, sir, no, sir, and I'm like, really? So
got him fooled.
Yep, got him fooled. Sorry, Brian. But so I was like, really? And he told me that night, he said, when we leave the tournament, he said, I'm going to call you on the way home and talk about helping you out a little bit. I said, okay. And, as well as I do, a lot of times, people will say, hey, man, I'm going to call you.
Happens a lot.
And then
could be a fishing company, could be just some guy.
Yeah, and then you never hear from them, or, and then you're thinking, man, should I got their number? Or, but so I didn't know what to expect. And G was like, he's like, I think he's going to help you out. So I'm like, So he calls me on the way home, and I didn't expect it. And, he sponsored me a little bit that year. And then he found out I needed a job to make some extra money. I had a full-time job, but he wanted to hire me working for him. And so I met a guy in a parking lot at Sam Rayburn at midnight.
Which sounds sketchy.
And it was a little bit of one of them medium-budget hotel rooms, so it was a little bit sketchy. But met him in the parking lot, and he ended up helping me that year, hired me full-time. And he's my title sponsor for this year, and he's paying for all my entry fees for all 9 opens, all 3 divisions, and I'm about to get emotional talking about it.
I got chills just listening to it, man, because not everybody gets that chance.
No, they don't, and that's one of the biggest things for me is I always told my mom, like, I don't want to be one of them people that, you know, when they're laying on their deathbed, they say, well, I think if I would have tried to fish for a living.
I hadn't blown my knee out.
If I hadn't, you know, back in the day, if I would have tried, I think, no, I ain't no woulda, shoulda, coulda. No, I want to know when I'm, you know, laying there that I did everything I could to make it. And if I don't make it, that's fine. But for somebody like Brian that I met in a parking lot at midnight at Sam Rayburn, at the Rayburn Inn, to help me out and just give me the opportunity, because most kids don't even get the opportunity. Now, granted, I mean, I work 2 jobs. I work a full-time job with Brian, and then I work part-time at the tackle store for extra money just to try to, you know, have enough money to make it. I still don't
pay
know
gas.
Yeah, so
Now, yeah.
But, you know, for somebody like Brian and, you know, North Alabama Mortgage to step up and help me through that is just unreal. I never would have thought.
And a lot of kids, and I know you were the same way, I was the same way, you think that help's going to come from the fishing industry. Mm-hmm. You think, oh, man, well, I fish and
yeah, Strike King will help me
whoever.
out. Yeah.
And they can help anybody they want, right? Mm-hmm. Like everybody loves Strike King. Everybody, but for me in my life, it's been those companies like that I've parking lot meetings, or you meet a guy on a fishing trip, a saltwater fishing trip. It's like, now what do you do? Man, I want to help you out. That is how I've been able to keep all this going for so many years and not be as successful in the waters I've wanted to be. Truly, like, it's a very expensive gig, but when I hit the tour, qualified ground running after years of being out of it, it was companies like that, companies like Waste Connections, Atomic Transport, these that they might not on the side of a boat wrap people, they might not turn ahead like if you roll up with the Garmin wrap boat or whatever, right? But dude, they take care of you.
Yep.
The people are good people and they want to support you. So it's really cool to see. And you're going to be running that thing all over the country, man. And for him, that's a matter of pride too, right? He gets in on, he's betting, hey, I'm going to put my money on Trey Swindle. I know what he's got what it takes, and I'm going to get in now. And even if it takes him 20 years to do this. Now, let's hope not.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Mom. But even if it takes him, you know, time to do this, I want to bet on him, man. I saw T.H. Marine do that with Sam George when he was right out of high school, decides he wants to do it, and we had known Sam for years around there, and it was like, hey, we want to hitch our wagon to him. He's a young dude. He's got it. Let's help him out. And they did the same thing, man. Yep. And I think that is so important. And I want to stress that to you young folks listening, like, don't send Strike King, Eagle Claw, you know, whoever these resumes because they get 400 a day.
Yep.
Make friends with the guy at the barbecue place in your hometown.
Absolutely.
Make friends, like, that is where you are going to get the money to be able to chase this. And like Trey said, he's working 2 jobs. Like, yes, he's got the sponsor. Brian took care of him. But you still got to come up with where you going to stay, what you going to eat, how you going to pay gas to drive to freaking Maryland for the dang, you know, Chesapeake Bay and all that. And I know you worry about that. You and I talk a lot, and that's a real worry for you. But you gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna figure it out.
I got faith in myself, and like I said, I got a couple other people that help me out, and that's the same way. Another one that I got that helps me out a little bit is the Direction TV, and I literally met him through being a camera boat driver for Darien. So, and he just, you know, he was like, man, he's like, you seem cool, and he just loved my personality, and he got my phone number, and then ended up wanting me on the show, and then now he helps me out. So that's another one of the things, you just never know who you're gonna meet. And you only get one chance to make a good first impression.
And you got to be yourself.
And you got to be yourself. So I'll never, I mean, even if you don't catch them and you're mad at yourself, put a smile on your face, because when you walk off the stage, you never know who's sitting there to shake your hand. So
I had one of the a guy that worked for FLW for years, man. At the last one I ever fished, and there was so much going on politically with the rumors that it was being sold, and I was having a okay year, but then a really bad year, like 3 good ones, 3 bad ones, and we were at Champlain, which is a place I love, and dude, I sucked. I was almost last the first day. It was worst finish that I ever had, and I came in early, second day, and you're 19 hours from home, and dude, I was pissed, and I'm normally, you know, like I definitely get mad, there's no doubt about it, but at weigh-ins, I've always prided myself that no matter what, like I'm myself, I try, but dude, I let it get to me that day, and I'll never forget going through the line, and they're checking my fish, and I was super big. He's like, "You're in early," and I was like, "Yeah, just real short." And he said, "Hey, It's just fishing. Like,
Yep.
he's like, go on stage and give them Luke like that. And dude, it hit me because I thought, well, dude, everybody can tell I got my ass on my shoulder. You know what I mean? Everybody, and dude, it like you're saying, getting them those teeth kickings, and them boys give them out. It don't matter what you're fishing. ABTs, Texas Team Trails, Federation, Nation, BF. It don't matter. There's somebody going to give one, and there's somebody going to get one, right? Every single week. So it doesn't matter what you fit. But they get it. You got to have, for me, the hardest part for me when I had a really bad one is because I do live my life on social media, right? Like I've been through the podcast, whatever, through videos, and I've never been bashful. If I suck, I'll tell you I suck. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you, man, I fished them FLWs and I should have won all of them. Well, no. I finished 100th a lot. You know what I mean? And people love to throw that insult at me now, but that was the toughest part for me mentally at times was I do throw myself out there. So when and you're the same way, like you're living out there. And so in this day and time, it is harder to recover from those bad ones sometimes because unless you can turn off the noise, and I've gotten very good at that, obviously, because there's a lot of noise out there and people that just, throw darts from their mom's basement, right? But it's harder now, I think, especially for young guys, and I say that for this reason, is you guys grew up in this social media age, and everybody wants to take a shot. So you have one bad one, you have two bad ones, you have one bad day. People are like, oh, what happened to you? You have a buddy that did that to you recently.
But I'm amazed. We're going to have to tell that story.
We're going to have to tell that story. We'll get there. But I think that, I guess the question is, I say all that to say, how do you handle that stuff? Are you're pretty like level-headed, man. You were super disappointed at Smith in your performance because you thought you were going to knock him out of the park, but you were still laughing and cutting up and like listening to Poppy tell you should have thrown a shaky head.
Absolutely. If I would have thrown a watermelon seed shaky head at Smith Lake, I would have won the whole thing.
God bless Tommy Swindle.
Absolutely. That's a legend
Poppy,
right there. Oh, Poppy. But yeah, I mean, I was super disappointed at Smith. But like I said, the main thing is I always put a smile on my face because, you got to sell yourself. So I don't want, because that's not who I am to show up at the boat ramp, mad. Of course I am, but I don't want somebody like you to see me and, see me with my butt on my shoulders and think, and then go home and tell your wife, man, that Trey Swindle boy, he was walking around.
But you were like that at the ramp. You're happy we got back to the room, and I was not in a good mood, and we were laughing and cutting up still. And I was like, dang, man, does the online stuff, if people give you a fit online, does it bug you? Or are you able to push it out?
I've dealt with it for so long, like you said about being Gerald's nephew. I've dealt with it for even back because me and G didn't get really close because he was so busy and stuff till I was 16 years old or so or 15 or 16, 17, whatever. But I still dealt with it even when I didn't even ever see him, but twice a year. They'd still, I mean, I've never even been in the boat with him, and people would say, well, it must be nice, for G to put you on him everywhere. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I have Uncle G's phone number. Like, he's so busy, and he, I see him at Christmas and I see him at Thanksgiving for, the family stuff, and that's it. He's just so busy. But I've dealt with it for so long, I handle it better now than I used to, but still when I'm sitting at home and I get a DM that says it must be nice to be rich, or I want to get on there and, but my girlfriend and my mom do a good job of holding me back on some of that stuff, like I'm sure your wife has to do you sometimes. But
she has to do me like that every now and then. I don't, especially, and you've seen some of the nonsense out there. Like if you're not a real person, or if I take 2 seconds to kind of do a little check, like, and you're just ripping me, and I'm like, you know what? I think this made this guy's day better to throw shade at me because he's probably hating his existence. There's most of the time, that's what it is. Most of the time, it's somebody that, like you're saying, you don't want to be on your deathbed going, I didn't try. And most of the people that do say horrible stuff online or they spend most of their time being negative, they never took that chance.
Yeah, they never
took that chance.
And they never will. They're just scared to do it.
Exactly. Whatever it is, whether it's fishing or you go on a hunting trip and you post a picture of a big deer. Must be nice to go to blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what, Bubba? You can save your money. You can go do it too. You see so much of that online now.
You do. And like I said, it was hard on me for a while because, like, I would get those text messages, and I know that like you said, a lot of it, some of it, I don't want to sound bad when I say this, but like it's jealousy. People are jealous.
People don't like that you're ambitious.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm chasing a dream, and I get that because everybody don't have that opportunity, but you have just as good of an opportunity as me to get up off the couch and go try.
All by your decisions.
It is. But for me, it kind of takes a toll on me sometimes because people think I just got it so easy, and I'm like, you know my story. Like I said, my dad passed when I was, like, my life ain't just
it ain't
perfect.
rainbows, man.
It ain't rainbows and butterflies. So, and that does take a toll on me when people think, they just don't know your story. They just don't even deserve to be talking to you.
They're gonna know it though. They're gonna know it as you go in this deal, man. I've met a lot of people and had the fortune of getting to know them. And dude, I think that you are sitting on a lot of bass fishing gold. Like, and I'm not saying that because of G or anything else. Like, dude, you've you got it. You got it. And I need everybody watching this to understand. Like, it may be next year, it may be 5 years from now. You may decide you don't even want to do it, and that's fine too. But you gonna shake some things up in bass fishing because, dude, you just you got it. Mm-hmm. You got it, man. I really do think. And I want to tell you something else you got. And I'm just gonna say it right now is got some trouble headed your way in those Southern Opens, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you got some trouble headed your way.
Y'all
in the
gonna
form
have to
of
stay
a
tuned for this because he got me at Smith, but he ain't gonna get me next year.
I didn't get you at Grand. I had to come home.
Yeah, you did.
I had to come home. But I entered the Southerns, and so I'm looking forward to those, and really just following you around. And making sure you don't make the elites. Like, I'm just going to, like Happy Gilmore, you suck. Trey, you suck.
A beautiful daggum North Alabama mortgage wrap boat.
I can find
GTO in the direction. You can find me.
At Smith, I rode past you and Stone Cold didn't wave like several times. You're like, what's up, Duncan? You'd call me and I'd be like, dude, that black Triton just blends in with these bluffs.
I'm going to lock the door to the utility trailer when I get back so he can't get in.
Oh my gosh, man. I had a great time. I told Marissa, we laughed. So Trey and I went to Sink Brush, and I did not name drop you on the podcast when I almost cut my finger off. But this finger is healing up. Thanks for the thoughts and prayers out there in the comments. Appreciate you putting me on the prayer list at church for the finger. But Trey and I are in the boat. We're out there. We got some brush in the boat. We're gonna and the brush wouldn't fit in the concrete block like we wanted it to. And I was like, well, just hand me the saw, Trey. Now I'm driving the boat. It's about midnight. It's cold. It's foggy. It's perfect recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
And for some reason, mainly because I'm an idiot, but I decided to cut the knot off of the brush towards me instead of away. And the end of this finger. And Trey said, well, you all right? I was like, I don't think so. And we said, click, click, with the light. There's blood everywhere, man. It looked like the Kool-Aid man exploded.
It looked like a murder scene out there.
It looked like a Kool-Aid man exploded.
Yeah, we said if we get pulled over with all these trees and bricks and blocks and blood all over the place, this is not going to be good. I
hope somebody's wife ain't missing.
Absolutely.
In Coleman County.
We are going to be in jail for the first time.
It was not a good situation, but we put in all that time, energy, and effort. But Trey that night, he climbed a tree, and I'll try to post a picture of this one day, but we got a tree on Smith we like to call a Simba tree because it looked like something from the Lion King. It was monumental, and if you ever get around a Simba tree, ladies and gentlemen, you probably going to get a bite because there's some brush in that area and some blood.
Yep.
Some blood in the water.
We come to find out, though, after it got daylight the next day when we were up there fishing, we didn't stay all night, but the next day.
We stayed to like 3 in the freaking morning.
It was like 3. Yeah, I don't think I got home till 4:30. But
it was late.
But yeah, we noticed we didn't cut as many things off the Simba tree as we thought we did, but it's still known as the Simba tree.
We had, and we also didn't have enough blocks on our brush because we had a lot of brush sticking out of the water.
Yep.
Sam George found all of our brush piles pretty much.
He did.
Fished them all before the tournament, dadgummit.
He did.
I got to tell the story about what I did to you at Grand Lake. And so to set this up, y'all have heard me talk on the show about what all I had going on in life at Grand. It was terrible what happened to a friend of mine here at home. And so I came back home, and Trey and I we talked when I was driving home on Monday. And he was getting ready to go to Smith and practice on Tuesday for the Alabama Bass Trail Championship. He had qualified for with his partner Daniel, and he decided not to go to Grand for the last Central Open. He's like, man, I'm gonna fish this try to beat the Wiggins, beat Jordan and Craig Daniel, Jackie Flack down here. I'm going to try to beat them and win a boat on my home lake. So go get me some Smith Lake Redemption. So he texts me. He's like, dude, it's going good. These fish are biting, boy, on Smith. I'm going to get us some redemption, Duncan. I'm like, heck yeah, buddy. Well, be sure to go fish all my brush piles that I didn't catch crap off of at Smith in the open. So we talk on Monday on the way home. I tell him what's happening, and he's like, oh, my gosh, and have his whole conversation. Well, then Tuesday, I hadn't talked to you. I got back home. Things are crazy. And I hadn't, I think you sent me a video from the water on Tuesday, being from the cemetery, I think.
Yeah.
No clue. So my man gets a phone call from Kay Donaldson.
Yep.
Miss Alabama Bass Trail. Miss Alabama even. I think we could call her Miss Alabama. I think we call her Miss Kay, Miss Alabama.
Absolutely.
But Alabama Bass Trail, Miss Kay. And you might have had a uh-oh. What was that uh-oh?
The uh-oh was a big uh-oh. And the uh-oh was that on Tuesday, it was off limits. It was indeed off limits. So, yes, we had about 17 pounds. Mixed bag, spots, and largemouth.
They're like, dang, nobody out here, man.
Yeah, I'm like, no wonder we was getting to fish everything we wanted to, but it was off limits.
You ain't got to shake none off, Daniel.
No. And so we got that phone call, and yeah.
DQ'd.
DQ'd. I had to call Scott Dobbins, the new tournament director, and tell him everything. And he's like, well, he's going through that whole thing. And I was like, Scott, I'm sorry, but you ain't got to tell me this. I know it's. And he's like, well, we got it. And I'm like, no. You save your breath. I know. He said, what are you going to do? I'm like, guess I'm headed to Grove, Oklahoma in the morning. He was like, really? I'm like, yep. But on with your story. Luke does not know this.
I had no clue any of this happened. Like I said, I'm home. Things are crazy here. I ain't talked to Trey in a couple days, and other than text, and no clue any of this happened. I ain't talked to G. I ain't talked to anybody. And so Thursday night, Hudson had a basketball game, and I was fixing to walk in, and I was looking. It was first day of Grand Lake, and obviously I was here at home, my family, but when you're at an event and all your buddies are there, and I'd practiced, one day, like your head's out there a little bit still, and I keep up with every tournament, if I'm in them, if I'm not in them, whatever. But I was like going through the stands, okay, and Sammy was in the top 10, okay. And I was looking for Atkins, and Atkins had a tough first day, and he zeroed. And I was like, hell no. I was like, because I had talked to Justin a couple times. He called checking on me, and I was looking. Well, I get down to the bottom of the standings. All the way down there at the bottom, there's Trey Swindle with a 0. And I was like, that goofball didn't call Chris Bowes and tell him he wasn't going to be in the tournament. I got this son of a gun on the roster. He needs to learn his name. Well, why would he do that? He ain't learned. Man, he's crazy. I wouldn't want anybody to think I zeroed the tournament I wasn't in. So I'm laughing going down the road. Seriously, I'm laughing so hard at the fact that Trey is fishing the next day on Smith, and he zeroed at Grand at a tournament that I don't know he's even in or at. I screenshot it and circled it and sent it to him and said, man, I hope you catch them better at Smith tomorrow than you did at Grand today. You suck. Well, he's like, thanks a lot, buddy. I'm like, what? Well, then he calls me. Go ahead.
I'm like, hey. He's like, what's up? He's like, I hope you do better at Smith tomorrow than you did at Grand today. I said, I'm at Grand, don't you? And he's like, wait, what?
I've never felt so bad.
And he's like, whoa, you're at Grand? I'm like, yeah, I drove up here and I told him the story, and he's like, dude, I feel so bad. I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I thought it was hilarious, but it was funny that he felt bad. I kind of pulled it
terrible,
off.
dude.
But, dude, I was laughing. Me and Daniel, because Daniel rode up with me and fished as a co-angler. Dude, we laughed when you sent me that text, because I told Daniel, and he was like, man, that's kind of rude, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's cruel.
No.
I was beating up on my buddy when he was down.
I was like, the funny thing is, he has no clue I'm
here.
None. I wanted to just send you a picture and tag the location, like Grove, Oklahoma, but I didn't.
I had no clue you drove all night. Now, that's what kind of bass head that Trey Swindle is. Gets disqualified on his home lake. Didn't know it was off limits because the regular season ABTs aren't that way, but the championship is, and you just.
And I haven't fished a championship or ABT since I was like 15 or 16, and my partner Daniel, he's only fished 1 year and he didn't make the championship, so I haven't.
So you just didn't know? You didn't pay attention to the rules?
When I made the championship, and we actually come in like 6th, almost won the daggum thing, but I was in high school, so I couldn't practice during the week anyway. So I had never even
Didn't know.
practiced for
So
a
you're like,
championship.
hammer down, we gonna practice.
Yeah, and with COVID and everything, everything's via email now, and you get these emails, and I'm
You throwing a buzz bait. You
I'm
ain't reading no
throwing a buzz
email.
bait while I
Here's a
got that
lesson to
email.
all you kids. We're trying to give lessons today away for free on Low Budget Live to all you low-lifers out there, young and old. Read the rules.
read the rules. It's very simple.
It'll save you a trip to Grove, Oklahoma,
It will.
and your buddy Luke making fun of you for sucking.
Yes, absolutely.
Even
lot
though
of
he
gas.
really didn't think you were sucking.
It's still okay. I forgive you. I thought it was pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie.
Drove all night, though, made it to registration, signs up with Bass, and then goes and fishes, and caught him. You caught him the second day, didn't you?
I caught him okay the second day. The first day, I like I said, I hadn't even practiced at all, so I just kind of fished. I've only been there one time, but I lost like a 5 or 6 pounder on a square bill, and I was throwing on the wrong rod because I drove all night, and I was just kind of being lazy, which I shouldn't say that on here. G's probably going to listen. But anyways, so I wasn't throwing on the right rod, lost it. But the second day, I kind of made a comeback, and I had like 3 for 9 or 10 pounds or something, and then broke a big one off. So it was just fun fishing. I learned more that tournament fishing.
You told me that's where I was going with
Yep,
this.
I
Like
mean,
you told me coming home, you said, Luke, I learned more than I've learned from
yep.
any tournament.
And I told G the site, like I was so excited to weigh in and call G because I was like, I have never like, I guess I don't know what the difference was, but just fishing with no practice, you have nothing to go off of. And like my co-angler, he called me and he's like, man, you own them or anything? And I said, as far as I know. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I left him biting. And he said, oh, so you left some biting? I said, yeah, in Alabama. And he's like, what? So, I mean, like, I had nothing to go off of. So, as far as I knew, they were biting. It was just cool. I don't know. It was different.
Yeah, and those, G in the parking lot at Smith, and, other than being a really close friend of mine, he's somebody I've looked up to for a long time since I was a kid. I met G when I was like 16, and I'm fortunate to have him in my life. He's taught me so many things and taught me through a lot of things and got me through a lot of hard times in life and helped me so many times. But, I sucked the first day. And he likes to give a hard time. Like, G will call you and tell you suck. He's not,
will.
like you said, he will. And I'll call him and do him the same thing. Now, he won't answer the phone.
Yeah,
he's not as good at taking
No.
those chewings from me as I am from him. But he told me in the parking lot, and I'm sure you got this speech several times from him, because we thought we were going to catch him at Smith. Like, I didn't think there was no way on Saturday you and I weren't going to be flirting with that top 10. So, I really did think that, and especially you. And I told my wife, I said, I think Trey will be at the Bass Pro Shops weighing in on Saturday, and before the thing started. And G said, hey, you'll learn more about yourself. And I've been doing this a long damn time, and he knows that. But he said, you'll learn more about yourself because I talked to him the night before. He knew what I was thinking, and then I come in with one. Dude, and I was not in a good spot mentally at the end of that day. Like, are you kidding me? I catch 20 or 30 fish, can't catch 15. Like, it was frustrating. Mm-hmm. And he said, you'll learn more about yourself as an angler tomorrow than any other day you've ever fished.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, dude, I've been doing this long. He said, trust me. And I go out, I jumped up 100 spots in the standings. Now, I was like 95th, 96, but out of 225. But I made this big jump. Mm-hmm. I completely changed up my game plan, got on a deal early, should have had probably 10 to 12 pounds that day, lost a couple really good fish that I saw. But decision-wise, complete 180 from day one. Didn't get glued in on the same thing that here's the problem. And I know you're learning this. You're talking about multi-day events. And I think this is a prime lesson. When you go into an event, especially a multi-day event, with lots of great fishermen, with preconceived notions, you're cooked before you put the boat in. I had put in so much time sinking brush. There wasn't how many times did we say that week? We know we're going to fish that brush.
Yep.
We know we're going to fish this brush. No, we're going to fish some cane piles. No, we're going to fish that brush. I knew what I was going to do, whether I got a bite doing anything else in practice. Yep. And you know how I jumped up 100 spots on day 2?
Doing something totally different.
Going and fishing docks, skipping a jig, which I love to do on Smith, on a stretch of docks that same time of year, I called them on one time before. I pulled up the first morning of practice, I called you, and shook off like 400 or 500 of them docks. And I never touched them on day one like an idiot because I was a genius. I was going to go back, I'm going to outsmart these boys. I'm going to fish all this cane. There were fish on all of it.
Yep.
You've seen it. live scope, you see 30, 40 up. Sam George dropping cameras down. It's 3-pound spots there. They would not eat. Could not figure out. I go skip my jig on her dock. Tone.
Yep.
Day 2, I go do that. And it's so important. I'm 38 years old. I'm saying this out loud for myself. You can't go in with preconceived notions. I don't care if it's April on your home lake and you know they've been on that damn log for 20 years. You put 225 boats on it, guess where they not? On that log. You better go figure something else out. And that's, dude, it's just so true in these opens. Like, it just is.
It is. And that's the same thing I had happen to me. You know, like at Pickwick was a prime example. Like the first day, I mean, I had practiced and I had found some shallow fish, some chatterbait fish, you know, but and I found some deep fish, and that's kind of what I like to do. But the first day I pulled up to one school, and there was nobody there. Couldn't believe it. There was nobody there, and I sacked up 15 pounds just right off the bat. And I'm like, as tough as everybody said it was, you would think that.
And then there are a bunch of liars when we got in.
I learned that I stayed with a bunch of liars at Pickwick, and you know who you are, Brent Crow. And I Maynard. I will not stay with y'all again. But so I was like,
then Brent showed he's not a liar. He won $245,000. That's neither here nor there.
I should have listened to him, actually. But
yes, we both should have listened to Brent that week.
Absolutely. But like I said, I sacked up 15 pounds like out deep, just super, super quick at Pickwick, and that's what I love to do. And then I caught another big one right there on a DT20, and I had 17 pounds within the first, 2 hours of the tournament. And I'm like, well, what do I do now? Like, I guess I just kind of go practice, look
back
around,
back
off. And I had one person try to get on that school with me, and I had a couple more schools found. But anyways, the second day, you're like deep.
That's right. Deep. You're locked in.
I'm locked in on deep fishing while I pull up, and there's a guy sitting on that school. So I'm like, I said, hey, man, you going to be here all day? He's like, yeah, never moving. I'm like, yes, sir. So I crank it back up, and I'm like, I'll go to the next one.
Noted.
Go to the next one, and Cody Huff and John Garrett are sitting on
a juice
hole, which I had found. Obviously not the only one. So I was like, well, I'm not going to tie up with him. So Daryl Gleason was on my other school. Daryl Gleason, I don't like you. And so
you owe your little dog, Daryl.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. That's the only deep holes I had, because as well as I do, they wasn't everywhere.
No.
So
it was still April.
Yeah.
Late April. Yeah.
It was kind of, so I was like, well, I guess I'll go swim a jig. I like to swim a jig, and that's totally different from what I had planned on doing. And pull up, I'll tell you a funny story. You'll like this, because your mom with butterflies.
Yeah.
My dad's favorite color was yellow. Don't know why.
Yeah.
But his favorite color was yellow. Most people don't like yellow. But anyways, go that same day at Pickwick, leave those deep fish, and I'm going to go swim a jig around 7 Mile Island. So I go up there, and I'm swimming a jig around. I catch like a 3-pounder, and I catch a 4-pounder, and I lose one, and I miss one, and I'm getting all messed up, because I'm like, now I've already had the bites to have 15 again after I had 17. So I'm fishing, and man, I'm just fishing 1,000 miles an hour, just not where I needed to be mentally. And I'm just flying down through there, and so a yellow bird comes in and lands on this buckbrush that I had just fished. Like, there's grass and there's buckbrush behind it, and I'm swimming a jig, and this yellow bird comes in and lands. And I swear to you, I'm gonna sound like some Aaron Martins would say right here, and that makes me sad talking about Aaron Martins. But anyways, so I looked around, like that bird's just looking at me, and I'm like I just fished there. I swear to you, I can't make this. I turn around, I threw my swim jig back over that yellow bird, 5-pounder. I can't make it up. And I waited. That was the only fish. I weighed in 4 fish that day for like 12 pounds, and I still didn't. But yeah, I caught 2 big ones, and one of them was because I literally turned around and threw at that bird. I'm like,
thanks, Pop.
Thanks, Pop.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm talking about.
I know, man. I see. I have situations like that. Not to go down a rabbit hole, but like, I do, and I post it a lot of times. I see, and I'm not saying it's a situation where it's need in life, because we're here and they're gone, and they meant so much to us that things like that happen.
Yep.
And I don't believe it's random. And I had a situation with my youngest. I'll try to tell this without breaking down, but my youngest rider, we were sitting in the yard, and this was about a year ago. And Mom had passed. My youngest was super close to my mom, and they called her TT. And my mom, Teresa, and he was sitting in the yard by himself. And I was like, I looked out the window. He's like sitting Indian style in the backyard, and I thought, man, that's just not like what's wrong. So I go out there, what's up, buddy? He was crying. He's like, man, I'm missing TT today. He's just crying. I sit down with him, and I try to do the dad thing and explain to him like, hey, you know, it's all right and it's okay to cry and it's okay to be sad. And I swear, a butterfly lands on that kid. I bet, like, swear on everything I got in life, the medium budget live studio, the house, whatever, lands on him. He just started smiling. And I said, you all right now?
Unreal.
And he says, quits crying, goes back to playing. And we've had so many times fishing, and even if it's not anything, it just makes you smile. Or being out in the, we've got a stand that we hunt on our farm that in the fall, early fall, when we're planting food plots, it's always got the most butterflies you've ever seen, always. So the boys call it the butterfly field. They always have. It's the only place they want to hunt now. And they're like, oh, we got to hunt the butterfly field, Dad. Well, you know, but you see them.
Yeah.
Like we sit in the stand, here they come. And so that's so awesome, man.
It is.
The yellow bird.
And like I said, like you said, it doesn't. It's not like it happens every day. And
It don't.
But it happens at the most. I don't know. You just know that it's like sent from above. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Like it's not like
Somebody's
a
looking
coincidence
out for you.
that a yellow bird. And I don't even know bird. I don't even know what yellow hammer is. A yellow hammer.
I don't know.
I don't even know if they. I don't know. I'm not a bird.
I call it a
person.
swindle.
Yeah, me too. I call it Tony
a swindle.
Swindle. My dad's what I
that's
call
right.
it. But
I call it
I'm
a
like, it's
swindle.
just so unreal that stuff like that happens. And sometimes, you know as well as I do, as much as, and I don't travel as, like, none of the elite guys, or really you do when you fish the tour, but, like, you know, you fish and I'm away from home and, like, you just get so caught up.
You do, man.
Like, you just overlook the big picture and, like, stuff like that to just make you, like, slow down.
Well, make you smile
It
too,
does.
and make you think of your dad, man. Like it's not easy being a young man like yourself and losing your dad young. I lost my mom at a later age, but still too early. You and I've had this one of our connections in life. I feel like, and we talk about this a lot. Like it's not easy. It's not. And you're fortunate you've got a great support system. Your mom's awesome.
I was about to say,
Stepdad Marty is like
nobody
awesome.
in the world supports me more than my mom. If anybody does more than my mom, it's my stepdad
No
Marty.
doubt.
And like I said, he doesn't fish. He hunts a lot, but he doesn't fish. But if it wasn't for him, I would never be where I am. Like I said, he bought me my first boat, which was like a 2004 Stratus with a little 150 on it. And like I said, my mom said one night, I used to fish with Ricky, and then he got a new partner, and I didn't have nobody to take me fishing because he was all I had. And I posted on Facebook one day, a long time ago, and I said, anybody want to go fishing today? Because I didn't have nobody to take me fishing. And my stepdad, Marty, was like, does anybody message you back? And I said, no, nobody's. He's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I guess I'm going to, get Mom to take me up here to the pond and drop me off and fish it. And Mom said he'd come home, like, in tears. He was like, this boy will never go without fishing again. Like, I'm buying him a boat. And my mom was like, Marty, like, boats aren't, like, cheap.
They're expensive,
And Marty said, I don't care. That boy's getting a boat. And he went and got me a boat.
And you're how old at this point?
I was 16 years old. I had just turned 16, really, when he started.
Probably didn't even know how to back one at the
I
time.
didn't. I swear on my life, I didn't. But I figured it out real quick. But like I said, without him, it's
That's
just
awesome.
night and day difference. But
And look, working hard combined with all that is how you get places in life. Everybody, and I sit on this show and especially like talk about Mom, or we're talking about your situation. Like everybody's got stuff, right? Like everybody
and that's
in
what
life
I don't ever
has
mean.
got, everybody's got
as an
stuff.
excuse, or I've got it better than a lot of people.
But it is how you overcome it.
It
in
is,
life.
and you learn from that. For me, and
because you could just as easily, your dad, you could go down any path, and this is a fishing podcast, but I'm more intrigued about people's life stories. That's why I got into doing this in the first place. It took a lot of different turns at times. Shout out Major League Fishing and my opinions at times, but it took a lot of place. But I love the conversations, and I think that life is all about, and I know several people like you do, that they could have gone a million different ways, and they chose not to. Now, I know a lot of people that went the way that they shouldn't have gone to, in my opinion, right? Like they took what life threw them, and they're like, they gave up.
Mm-hmm. And that's
not easy to for some people. That's the only choice that they have. Like they make that choice, whether they go down the rabbit hole of drugs or getting into trouble, crime, whatever. But man, it's so cool to me that you picked to not let that define your life story.
And like I said, a lot of it is just, from just watching my mom, because, when, you know it because your mom passed away, but like when my dad passed away, my dad was all my mom ever knew. You
don't know what to do.
And my mom's like, she's got 2 kids. She's a school teacher. As we all know, school teachers don't make great money. She's got a big house to pay for.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. And my mom don't want her kids to go without, because you know how it is. You got kids, they go to school and, I
wish mine went without, I'll be honest.
Luke's got these new dude shoes, I can't have dude shoes.
Yeah.
So, and my mom never wanted us to go without, but, there was times my mom, you know what I mean?
I get it, man.
So seeing her overcome that and, and finding Marty and then, Marty just welcoming me and my sister in like his own, it's just, that helped me out, going in the right direction. Because like you said, when something like that happens, you can, it seems the easy way is the bad way almost.
I think it is for a lot of people.
Because it's at such a low point in your life where, you don't see any positive side to it and you wonder why it's
and
you.
And it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And you just can't grasp why or,
especially at a young age.
Yeah, and especially then. But, like I said, seeing my mom overcome it and helping me and my sister through it, it was just, there wasn't, for me, looking at my mom, there was no other way to go but the way
That's
she
awesome.
went. So that's kind of where I got that from. But,
That's why you say sorry, Mama, when I said it might take 20 years to make the Elite Series.
Absolutely, because she told me the other day, my mom, y'all, is the most supportive person.
The number one
ever.
fan.
Absolutely, but
fan.
she's like, well, why didn't you catch them at Smith? When you going to qualify? I thought this was supposed to be, you win these Tuesday nighters, why can't you beat these guys? I'm like, but she is the most supportive person ever. But
she said, you've been to Smith 3 weeks in a row. You and Luke Duncan been out here in the middle of the night sinking brush. Why ain't you winning?
Yeah, when I told her I was going to sink brush with you, she was like, Luke Duncan? Who's Luke Duncan? Y'all going to sink brush at night?
Sounds suspicious.
And I'm like, my mom's like, is he going to kill you? I'm like, no.
What's some concrete blocks of rope for, Trey?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, she should have done a little bit better background check. But then she met me at the weigh-in, and she probably had all her fears confirmed. The second she shook my hand, she saw it, she's like, bearded, this guy's got some tattoos. Yeah, I ain't real sure about this podcast situation. Yeah, Trey, get away from him.
That's right.
Trey. Somebody hook up to the utility trailer and pull him down the road.
True. She might. There ain't no telling. My mom is like the most supportive, but she also freaks out about little stuff like that. Like I was like, Mom, I'm gonna go sink brush, with Luke, and she's like, okay. So I leave and to go to work that day because I work. And she's like, I thought you were going to sink brush. I'm like, I am tonight. And she's like, tonight?
Dead of the night.
At night? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep. I'll sleep. I'm gonna go sink brush at night. And she's like, with who? Luke Duncan? I don't know Luke Duncan. You're going at night? Like it was like she was like, what? Oh Lord.
That's amazing. My wife was like, oh, okay, just be careful. Because I'd already done it 2 nights by myself. And she was like, the first time she was like, and why are you doing this again? Because I don't sink a ton of brush, But she's like, you might get killed like by yourself. And it was there were some close calls, but really, I was better off by myself because the night that you stepped up to be my brush sinking partner was when I almost lost a finger.
That is the truth. Maybe I'm bad luck, but if I was bad luck, I would have fell upside down out of the Simba tree and probably broke my neck and ended up with a pair of shears through my chest. So we didn't have that bad a look.
Shout out Simba tree.
Yeah, shout out to Simba tree.
People love the shout outs on LBL. All right, buddy. I gotta put you on the spot, and then we're fixing to go. I'm gonna take you on a little adventure here of a lifetime.
I love adventures.
World-class fishery. I'm gonna take you to while you're waiting on this boat to get wrapped. But I appreciate you coming on. What tournament next year? If you had to pick, and this is all recorded evidence, say that to every guest. If you had to pick which out of the 9 events on that schedule next year will be the Trey Swindle show, your best event out of 9 tournaments, and most of them you haven't been to.
Yep.
Which one you picking is going to be the one where the bass fishing world is going to go, oh, man, Trey said on Low Budget Live, that was going to be the one. And look, that's the one. Which one do you think it is? Because it's normally the one you don't think it's going to be. That's what I would say from experience. But which one, if you're looking at it, which one you circling like, yeah.
So I really, honestly, I don't know why. I really don't at all. But I'm leaning towards James River. I don't know why, but I'm really leaning towards Sam Rayburn.
You like Rayburn?
I've been there one time, but I fell in love with it, but I kind of got caught up doing one thing when I think I spent too much time doing that and less of what I actually love to do, and that's how, G caught them, which is what I'm just really excited because I think I learned a lot the last time I was down there, and it should be even better when we go there this year. So, but I don't know why I feel like James River.
James is cool, man, and the way you like to fish, I feel like, and they're going there at a really good time of the year. I feel like April. Be a lot of things. They normally go in the summer, so I think that'll be a complete flip-flop from the Opens pros that have been there. Mm-hmm. You always get a bunch of locals in those too, but the northern schedule is weird for me for a lot of reasons. It was the one because there were some conflicts with MPFL and stuff, and I still think there may be in the southerns. Mm-hmm. The last event I think might conflict, but could be some moving and shaking going on there. I'm not sure, but I signed up for the Southerns. I may only get to fish 2 or 3, but I'm at least going to show up at Kissimmee and Cherokee. I love Cherokee, but that northern schedule is really there were a lot of complaints about it online, but you gonna earn it in that one. The people, because those are going to be tough. Oneida is a great fishery, but it's a little stingier now. But I think that northern schedule is going to be one. They're all interesting though. Like the Centrals are tough too. Ross Barnett,
and like you said, a lot of people were complaining about it online. But my thing is, there's always going to be a winner. There's always going to be a loser, and everybody's got to fish the same place. So to me, it's all.
From what I'm hearing through the grapevine, there might have been a lot of people complaining. But they got their credit cards out, and they got online and signed up because I'm hearing that it's already gridlocked in all 3 divisions.
Yeah, so it's a different schedule this year, even down to the Centrals and the Southerns. Well, the Southerns are probably about the same, but the Centrals are kind of flip-flopped a little bit around, through Red River in there. And
Ross Barnett. It's a tough one. Barnett. Who wins? The guy that wins the points in that division will earn it.
Yeah, but see, I don't know why. I'm just really looking forward to the James River and Chesapeake
writing it down.
Bay.
James.
Because
I'll start calling you James.
That's fine. People call me worse, but
probably.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or they should.
Yeah,
they're in your DMs right now. As this uploads, they're going to be in your DMs.
I don't have an Apple Watch because I am low budget. You medium budget in here. It's pretty nice, but say I'm low budget.
I ain't got no Apple Watch.
You just ain't.
Don't put that evil on me. My freaking iPhone updated last night. I won't throw it through the dang window. It's doing all kinds of stuff, talking at me. I woke up this morning. I was like, whoa, like everything changed. I didn't give it permission to do that. I don't know why it updated.
There's no doubt.
They're probably listening to me. Thanks a lot, Apple.
Yeah. They're listening to you right now.
I ain't no doubt.
I guarantee it.
I'll promise you. I wish they'd get me some more listeners. Say listening. Bring some people.
Yeah, bring some more viewers to the low budget.
Yeah, bring it so we make it high budget.
We already get out there. You already get out there and piss some people off. But I mean, if you had more, there's no telling.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. After this fall receiving death threats, I don't know that I want to talk to many more people. I'm good. Because people that will believe one video that they're told, hey, this guy's punching babies and stabbing goats, and people are like, I'm gonna kill you, goat stabber. Like, what?
Never believe what you see on the internet.
Unless it's low budget live.
Yeah, unless it's low budget live. But that's the most underrated thing ever because people just want, a lot of times. I mean, I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but they just want to make themselves look innocent.
That's right.
So, and I'm not talking about nobody. I'm just saying just in general.
I do think it goes, whether you fishing, whether you playing music, whether you're trying to act like you're married. I mean, there's a lot of folks I know in real life, maybe their marriage ain't as good as it should be, right? You see them fighting at a basketball game. Maybe you see them arguing. And then they post that selfie. Love of my life.
Got 19 roses for our 19th anniversary.
And you're like, I seen y'all fighting in a parking lot. Yeah. You lying.
You threw spaghetti at him at the dinner table last night.
I seen him get hit with a meatball. Why are you posting this? Rebecca?
Yeah, that's right.
Sit down, Rebecca. Get off of Instagram. Go hug your husband. Tuck your kids in the bed.
But I'm going to put you on the spot. And I think before we take it to the wherever you take them to go fishing, my mom might be a little nervous if I told her that too. But I think I'm going to put you on the spot and say I think that we need to go to Kissimmee and pre-practice.
Yes, I told Hudson Duncan and Ryder Duncan this weekend. That when they're out for Christmas break, we might try to buzz down there for a couple days and go ride around. Because I hadn't been there since the last year I fished tour. We went there in March for the first term, February, March. And that's the only time. Now, I fished there twice. I fished there as a co, and then I fished there in that one. And was within sight of Buddy Gross where he won. But I was very much not within sight of him in the stands. Know where it went down in that one. It's a tricky place, man. You've been there. I thought you fished it.
I've never even been to
G's
Florida.
won there.
Yeah, G's done
in
good
January.
there.
Yeah, he catches them there. And I caught him there as a co. I've been there fun fishing one other time and caught him. And then thought I was really going to smash him in that FLW down there. And I really still to this day, like it's a head scratcher. Like I don't know what changed. Like my area didn't have a ton of folks in it. I don't know. Like it was really weird, but it's just a lot of water. It's a lot of decisions matter in every event you fish, but they really matter there because with the lock time and run times, and you lose a lot of it if you go to Kissimmee, and that's normally the best lake, but then the smaller lake, there's so much freaking water. Now, fortunately, in the Opens, if you decide. You can go practice 100 days if you want to, I guess.
You can practice as much as you want.
As much as you want, but too much, I always feel like messes my head up because I'll be sitting there on day one at 9:15 like, ooh, well, what about that spot 20 miles from here? Like that's not a good idea for me, but a lot of water
practice is
there.
good, though. Just go ride around, get a feel for it. Like I said, I've never been. That's one thing I'm looking forward to the all 9 Opens this year because I've literally, the only one I've ever been to is Rayburn.
So you've never, I thought you'd fish Barnett. So you've never fished Barnett?
I've never been anywhere on the schedule except for Rayburn. I've only been there one time.
Never been to the Red?
Never been to the Red.
Okay.
I think I actually, 2 buddies of mine fished a high school tournament on Hartwell, but I don't even know if I fished.
I like
went up there
Hartwell.
with
I've been
them.
there. I got paid up there in a tour tournament. It was in spring, sight fish deal, but I like the fall.
Yeah.
I like the fall on the podcast. I don't like the fall when I have to fish a tournament in it. I like the fall fun fishing. I felt like I always
true.
catch them. And then when you put a tournament, it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell everybody right here on Low Budget Live that I will be willing to bet that Luke Duncan will make a over $90 order for Japanese spoons at Lake Hartwell.
That will happen.
It will happen, I promise.
I bet he makes an over $90 order months before that tournament in preparation because they will bite that sucker.
And then he'll be afraid that he's going to break them all off and he'll order $90 more.
Gosh, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. But I did in practice. I was throwing this little spoon. I'm not even going to tell y'all what it is because they like it. It's a little sneaky little deal. Sammy George weighed one in off of it in that tournament too.
Really?
He did. He sure did. He listened to me. He threw it.
See, I didn't listen to you. I just thought you were joking.
Sam, who probably that tournament cost him the Elite Series, listened to me and threw us.
Sam, hear me out.
Yeah.
Start listening to me.
Yeah, Sammy. Sammy Spoon. But that thing, I hooked, I guess it was a striper. I broke 2 of them. I didn't have many. And I broke one the first day of practice when I'd never even thrown the thing. And I found this big school spots on live scope. Fired in there and start catching them. No keepers. And it was like, boom, 2.5 pounder. Boom, another 15-incher. Boom, a 16-incher. And I'm like, okay. Ring, hey, little Trey, you're going to think this is stupid, but it is. This is kind of crazy. It's the only thing I found they'll bite. Then I hook one, it's like, and breaks it immediately. I'm like, that had to be a strike. I had to have it swallowed, I guess. Day 2 of practice, I'm out there. You told me about this spot that you saw all these schoolers, and I'd seen them the week before there too. And you're like, dude, they were up everywhere. So I pull in, drop a trolling motor, spots everywhere on live scope, swimming around, bomb a little spoon out there. Here comes one. Pow! Breaks me out. I'm like, good, this is fresh line. I don't think that one was a spot either. But I end up breaking 2 off, so that caused me to go into panic mode. So, yes, I will probably order more than $90. Shout out for Tackle Warehouse for getting you stuff, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tackle Warehouse, we appreciate them taking all my money. My wife's like, oh, American Express charge. Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Warehouse. Oh, you definitely paid for the overnight shipping.
That's why my girlfriend, she wants to get married. I told her we are not ready for that, but I told her she's really not ready to see all the Tackle Warehouse bills that are on my credit card.
One of my best friends last week, he buys and sells guitars all the time. And guitar, you think fishing equipment's bad. Like guitar, It's next level. Like Marissa was asking me last night, she's like, what's the most expensive thing you've ever bought? She's like, I'm not talking about houses or cars. She's like, I'm talking about actually take money and go buy it. And I'm like, guitars. Like before I knew her, like I was bad, like a junkie. Like I had like 9 at one time. Like a Steve, you can see around here right now. I think there's like 3 or 4, but I don't have near as many as I used to have. And I was just constant, man. Just constant. And I'd keep them for like a month, I'd sell it, and I'd go buy another one or whatever. And I've got 2 or 3 that are like in the rotation all the time, my whole life, and they'll be my kids will get them one of these days. But this buddy of mine buys and sells, and dude, he's like really, really, really dialed on which ones are like super old. And he bought this Martin guitar. For those of you musicians out there listening, Martins are legendary, but he bought this thing, 1940 something Martin, dude. It's worth like they're like 401ks. They only get better, right? Like a savings account. And like some of my guitars, my boys can sell them on them these days if they wanted to. And they'll be worth a lot. Like they do age, the certain kinds. So he bought this thing and he was texting me. He's like, man, I just got a 1942 Martin, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, for real? And he's had some crazy deals that he's found over the years. And he said, yep, this is why it's key to have a separate bank account from your wife. So that's why I tell that story is, young man, are you listening out there? And I make the fatal mistake, the triple threat, and I share a bank account. So she sees all the coming and going of the money, and she don't say a lot, She don't say a lot. But every now and then, I bought a new guitar about 2 months ago. She said something about that.
That's what I think. My girlfriend would be okay with it. I mean, I guess she would have to be, but she knows she would have to be. But I think that would bring some concern on how I eat at night. I buy so much off Tackle Warehouse.
Before we get off here, I want to throw you under the bus and say I've heard enough about the Japanese spoon. I know a guy, and you know what I'm going to say. I know a guy right now, sitting in the LBL Bar and Grill, that for that same tournament, I was buying stupid spoons, but had never thrown a glide bait. No. One time in his life. And I knew a guy that led you down the wrong path, and I apologize, but I had some bites on a glide bait the week before the tournament, and you went plumb glide bait crazy.
I did. I absolutely did. I spent... Sorry,
Julie. Sorry,
Mom. I spent probably $400 on glide baits, which, now granted, Luke got 97 little spoons for $95, and I got 5 glide baits for like $400. So he got more than I did. But so, yeah, I went crazy. It was fun. I had 1 bite on it in practice, and I lost my mind and took out and went straight to Van Sporting Goods.
Now, I will say the interesting thing about that, though, is what I tell you. I said, G's going to shoot you over this because that ain't how he rolls. Yep. But you guys went fishing, and he actually bought him some glide baits and playing around with.
We have, if I ever see him on an Elite Series with a glide bait on there,
we can take credit for it.
We can take credit for it. And if he ever wins one with a glide bait, but yeah, me and G went fishing, and the first like 2 docks we come to, like freaking giants followed that thing out, and he was like, huh.
The wheels got turned up.
Like,
interesting.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to have to get me a couple of these. And then he said he caught one on it at Gunnersville.
Did he?
He was filming for somebody, and he caught one on it. He's like, yeah, sucker smoked it. I'm like, yeah, they'll bite it. They'll bite it.
They'll eat that old thing. I ain't been gone from you 30 minutes and pitched you an old ugly one over in the boat, and you're like, hey, we're going to get more of these. It is. It's like a crack addict, man, them swim baits. The guys that are good with them, man, The key to it, though, is knowing when to put it down, I feel like, and those guys have figured out because they've been burned by it so many times. Carl Jacobson, Polnick, my buddy Brad Knight. God, Brad has had so many FLWs truly in practice where he's like, they better be on their game this week.
It's just amazing how many fish it draws, how much attention it draws. And it's actually a really, if you have enough self-power to do it, it's a really good practice bait because you can find so many fish with it if you know to put it down on tournament day and fish, because there's fish there, in your mind you do. But
it can help your confidence. It can also deflate it too, because I've gone through areas with it on Wilson Lake at a riders event one time. Me and Strader, God, I'll never forget this, and it was in May, and dude, they were coming up big and not eating it. And I'd caught like maybe 2 or 3, but like I'm talking about like seeing 50 and you get 2 bites.
Yeah.
Well, Wes is like, well, dude, I'll just go right back in there with a daggum wacky Cinco and I'll catch every one of them. Never had a bite. You pick that thing up and go back through there. Here they come. So I've seen it where it'll
Yeah.
freak you out because it shows you where they're at, but there's something about, and I think they're just always there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many areas, and like you're saying, especially on these boat docks you're talking about on the lake y'all are fishing, dude, they come up and they show themselves, and you're like, what in the world is going on? But you might skip your old brown jig in there and not get a bite.
Yeah, never get a bite.
It's wild.
It is.
It is a very, very wild situation. A lot like having Trey Swindle in the Low Budget Bar and Grill. Buddy, I appreciate you coming.
I enjoyed it.
appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Do you know the words to Biloxi Blues by heart? You can't hear it, so it don't matter.
I absolutely do.
Well, I'm not going to put you on the spot and make you sing because you don't have any headphones
Well, I'd
on.
sing
So
anyway.
you can't hear it. Be sure to hug your mama, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate Trey Swindle coming on the podcast. Appreciate each and every one of you listening. I know we did some rambling. We brought down some, I feel like you got some solid information out of my man, Trey. Keep up with Trey. Follow him on Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9. Next year, he's doing all 9 opens. He's going to be running around out there. If you need a mortgage,
Yeah.
can you get somebody a loan, like at the boat ramp?
I mean, I don't think I could, but Brian could.
You call Brian.
I could call Brian.
If
I
you're
could
looking
get
to
you
buy a
hooked up.
house and you see Trey anywhere next year, call your boy.
Absolutely.
Come up to him. He get you hooked up with the best mortgage company in North Alabama.
Absolutely.
Hey, I
They'll
want to
treat you right.
refinance my house. We need to talk after this. We can take this to High Budget Live.
That's right. Hi,
Get a little home equity line of credit.
tuned on this one.
Stay tuned on that one. Appreciate Trey coming. Appreciate each and every one of you guys listening. Don't forget December 11th, if you're still tuned in, December 11th, Columbia, Tennessee, I'm playing music opening for the Vagabonds. Some buddies of mine playing the new Mule House. Tickets available at themulehouse.com. They're $20 a piece. If you're in North Alabama, Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe in Alaska, and you want to come spend a weekend in Middle Tennessee, get to Columbia, Tennessee, and I will see y'all next week. Take you out with some Biloxi Blues, and yeah, you'll hear this song there. We may play it 9 times. We don't have any other songs. Here you go. See y'all.
Spanish moss, a Civil War ghost. Well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.